Both Andrew Tate and Bonnie Blue have appeared on a podcast/interview together. Sounds relatively interesting, doesn't it? I thought so at first, until I saw that it was 2.5 hours long. I'm going to assume that most of you are employed, and I'm also going to assume that because you're a hard-working 9-to-5 grafter, you do not have the free time to sit and watch 2.5 hours of a sociopathic slapper interact with a bald cringe bag who writes anonymous love poems on Twitter. I, however, do have the time, so to save you the agony, I'm going to break down the entire conversation and dissect the points of interest only. You might be wondering why I have free time to waste. Is it because I'm claiming PIP allowance, you're asking yourself? No, nothing like that. It's because my job is this.
Good evening, Manchester T5.
Hello there, who's this I'm speaking to, sorry?
Kieran.
Hello there, Kieran, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm not too bad, Kieran. What it is, Kieran, I've got a small complaint to make. We were in the casino, and this is about an hour and a half ago. Were you on shift then? Were you on shift at 11:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably noticed us. We were the two African men, very, very black men. FYI, if you fancy tuning into what you just saw, I live stream on my second YouTube channel. It's Brad Does Banter live streams. I go live Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. The lives always start at around 10 PM and usually last until the early hours. The link to that channel is in the description. Now, Rob Moore begins the interview by asking Andrew Tate a very direct question.
Andrew, what do you think of Bonnie Blue sleeping with 1,057 men?
How honest should I be out of 10?
11.
I want you to be honest.
You want me to be honest?
Yeah, go on.
I don't understand why men sit here and try and lecture you about it. I don't understand why men sit here and say you shouldn't do it. It's your body, your choice, right? This is the world we now live in. This is the end result of feminism. You are the perfect end result of feminism. In the world I believe in the conservative, traditionally masculinely ruled world, a man would be in charge of his daughters until they're handed over to their husbands or boyfriends, and there would be a degree of masculine guidance. But feminism didn't want that. You know, women complained that men don't want to get married. We did actually want to get married when we got obedient virgins, but they disappeared, and they complained about the patriarchy, and they were tired of us giving them a house to live in and kids to raise, and they wanted to make their own choices. So she's making her own choice. Andrew's
using Bonnie's extreme depravity to make a point against Western society, it seems like, and the equal freedoms that women are afforded. I'm not a fan of slappers. I want to clarify that. I'm not. I think you should be free to be a slapper. If you want to share your pussy out with anyone, anywhere, then feel free to do it. Knock yourself out. But just don't expect a man of any salt about himself to want to wife you up once your frontal lobe's fully developed and you've decided that you no longer want to rent out your vagina to anyone who applies to enter, like it's low-cost HMO student accommodation. In the same breath, as long as you're not my missus, I am not asked what you do. And I'm only sharing that borderline misogynistic opinion I've got against slappers because I want to make the point that I am not a male feminist. And therefore you now know that the point I'm about to make, I make because I truly wholeheartedly believe it, and that is that Andrew Tate is talking out of his brown ass. Bonnie Blue is not the ultimate representation of feminism like he's trying to illustrate. She isn't what naturally happens when you allow women autonomy over themselves. Far from it. Bonnie Blue is a unique case. She's worthy of a case study. She's an actual human succubus. Quite frankly, I sort of believe she may just be a demon disguising itself as a human, and I'm not a religious man, but I think this bitch is here to absorb the life force of any and all men she comes across, as if she's a high-level grass-type Pokemon that's just learned the move Giga Drain. And Bonnie has no issue doing all of that because she's quite literally patient fucking zero of antisocial personality disorder. Comparing her with an everyday feminist is retarded. 5 minutes into the video, the discussion moves towards Andrew Tate's children. Rob asks Andrew the question, what would you do if it was your daughter in Bonnie Blue's position?
What would you do if it was your daughter, though?
But why are you asking impossible questions?
Well, it's not an impossible question.
Of course it is.
How?
It can't happen.
But anything can happen.
It's against the laws of physics.
It's not.
I mean, if your daughter opened her legs and took 1,000 dicks, it's not impossible.
Of course it is.
What?
Why is
the
it
dicks
impossible?
would enter her pussy, therefore she's taken.
It's literally impossible for my daughter.
What, are you going to be there against your daughter's pussy saying that dick's not entering it?
No, my daughter just wouldn't make that decision.
Bonnie Blue is a fucking oddball. No matter what your opinion is on Andrew Tate, and I'm not big on him myself. I thought he was entertaining in 2022 when I first saw him on TikTok. It got boring quite fast for me. But it doesn't matter. It is common knowledge that his daughters are young children. The man is in his 30s. He doesn't have grown-up kids. To sit there and come out with hypotheticals about children and what their sex life will look like, doing so as well with such vulgar, direct language, hypothesising about their quote-unquote pussies, that's fucking warped. I am not asked whether what she says is mostly orchestrated rage bait or if most of her stunts are just exaggerated for the publicity. Regardless, I'm convinced that to speak in that manner about children is so beyond sick, and it just proves that even outside of the internet, even outside of what she's trying to do and the attention she's trying to gravitate towards herself, Bonnie Blue is not a well individual.
I think that most women, to some degree, are sex workers anyway. Like, let's be honest about it, right? Most women look at Miami or Dubai. What's your job? Oh, I've got a boyfriend. So your job is being a girlfriend. And why does he give you money? Because you give him sex. So most women are sex workers anyway.
Miami and Dubai are not legitimate examples for such an overtly general take like that, you big brown fucking volleyball. I thought Andrew Tate's whole shtick was being a man of logic, albeit like logic that offends people, but he's still meant to be this logical character, innit? What he just said there is so fucking far from logic, it actually makes him sound thick as pig shit. In fact, I would expect that level of conversation inside a Wetherspoons from a man who makes just north of £11 an hour and doesn't wipe his arse enough to a point where his stench is consistent with a stench of actual fucking poo, whose prefrontal cortex is 45% microplastics, not a multi-millionaire cult leader like Andrew Tate. Using the condensed, dimensionless world of influencers, which is what Miami and Dubai is when you're talking about the type of women who are just on the boats, the Instagram models, and trying to compare that to everyday women. What? Have you been lobotomized, Andrew? Do you know what's mad as well? My rebuttal towards Andrew Tate is making me sound like an offended male feminist, me of all people. But it's just because he comes out with such bollocks. Do you know how mad, do you know how outrageous the things you say have to be to make Brad Does Banter sound like a woke, offended lefty?
If a man is a high value, high testosterone, alpha male, whatever you want to call it, right? His imperative is to impregnate women. And he wants to take care of those women and take care of those kids. He's not overly interested in the kids. It doesn't mean he doesn't love them. It means he doesn't want to sit there and play with them all day. When you see a man who wants to play with a baby all day, that man is probably gay. It's fucking boring.
According to Andrew Tate, you should be having children. But if you want to spend time with those children, you're gay. You are bent. What? Do you want to know what this is all about with Andrew? You do, don't you? I'll tell you. What we're seeing in Andrew is the aftermath of a child who was greatly influenced by his father, a man who was a very intelligent, yet very autistic narcissist. This sharp, fixated mind enabled Emery Tate to become a chess master, but because of the autism, the chess fixation left no room for any emotional intelligence, resulting in Andrew's dad, Emery Tate, being a very smart man, but a smart man who really struggled to process his own emotions.
He was tough on you.
He was certainly tough on me, and I can't express enough how grateful I am for that. We live in a world now where I'm going to say that my dad hit me when I made a mistake, and everyone's going to lose their minds.
So Andrew's dad, being unable to mitigate his own anger, naturally kicks the shit out of Andrew's mum all the way through Andrew's childhood, while simultaneously manipulating his easily influenced sons who look up to their father to think that his behaviour is the morally correct way to tackle life. Because, of course, narcissism has you feeling empowered about yourself. even when you're wrong.
Well, my father never, ever, ever listened to my mother. Not in a disrespectful way, just in a very much like, okay, thanks for talking. I appreciate your point of view, but no.
This has left the easily influenced Tate brothers, who have their father's receptive brains, but had to harden themselves emotionally so that they wouldn't have to sit and deal with the psychological ramifications that come with growing up in an abusive household, in a position where they cannot see the benefit in women because of their own perceived weakness of their mum. And because of that self-conditioned mental fortitude that Andrew felt he had to put up to protect himself, he struggles to feel anything towards anyone who he perceives as being vulnerable, and that includes women and, of course, his own children. Yet because he carries his dad's narcissism with him everywhere he goes like it's a fucking sentimental heirloom, Andrew has to convince the audience that how Andrew feels is the correct way to feel, even though in reality Andrew's feelings are just one man's trauma response. If Andrew was to acknowledge that there was something wrong with how his mind works, then at the same time he would have to sit with and confront his own trauma. And that leaves us with the bollocks that's being pushed here, because Andrew doesn't want to spend time with his children. Any other man who wants to maybe spend time with their kids, they're not exposing a chink in Andrew's armour. No, they're just gay. That's what it is. They suck cock. Aye. Okay. Tell you what, very easy read. This book is very, very easy read. The next 20 minutes are really just a snooze fest of rage bait. Bonnie tells us how much she doesn't care when other women criticise her. At the same time, she gets angry about other women criticising her. If she wasn't so fucking cock drunk, then she'd realise that the second you get angry about something, you are plainly demonstrating to the audience that the source of the anger actually does bother you, no matter how many times you insist on the contrary. After that, Andrew goes on a long tirade ranting about how women shouldn't have the vote, and according to Andrew, if we strip them of that right, then all of society's issues would be healed. Bonnie Blue nods along like a fucking loyal Labrador, hoping that this pick-me demeanour that she's adopted will make it so that more men buy her sex tapes to watch her ginormous clitoris wave about like it's a small penis. And then we approach the topic of your partner having any sexual history before they met you. Andrew, after proudly denouncing other men whose partners weren't virgins before meeting them, is asked if all of his girlfriends were virgins before meeting him. And he dances around the question more than his ancestors would dance around a fire pit in the African bush, hoping and praying for rainfall.
So are all of your girlfriends virgins before you?
Well, here's where you have to, as a man, do your best.
Yes
to find
or
a
no
woman
in
if
it,
you
really.
want to take her seriously with as little history as possible, if that's the kind of thing that bothers you.
And does it bother you?
But, well, it depends.
I mean, surely your best place to go then is high school.
Well, we have to be careful. I'm under investigation here.
Bonnie, being the fucking nonce that she is, suggests that the best case scenario for Tate is high school girls. Andrew, instead of being a normal man and replying saying, no, Bonnie, high school girls aren't for me, merely says, no, I'm under investigation, so let's not go there. Bear in mind, this is a conversation between British people. In Britain, my country, you leave high school at 16, so that is some food for thought when absorbing the words of these two fucking characters, both of whom I suspect one of these days will be the subjects of a Facebook Live sting operation.
If you ever host a virgin party, count me in.
How would you get into a virgin party?
Well, no, but I'll be there to take the virginities. I'm obsessed with it.
Why are you obsessed with taking boys' virginities?
Well, just like how Andrew likes 18-year-old.
Wait,
Okay.
Careful now.
Sorry, should I go
I'm
younger?
under investigation.
Sorry, should I go younger? Dirty bitch, mate. Dirty bitch. In my opinion, the only thing stopping her from sleeping with a lad under the age of 18 and filming it is the law around it. I'm willing to bet that she would shag an actual teenager if she could. Especially after the multiple years of self-desensitization that Bonnie's endured from treating her temple of a body as if it's the fucking alleyway next to Ashton Asda.
I'd happily take an 18-year-old on their birthday. Like,
Why?
closer to 18. I just want them, to be young, innocent. I want to strip them from that. I want to
steal
take
their
innocence.
innocence.
I want to watch
Like
their
Shang Tsung.
toes curl up as they come for the first time from a girl. Like, I love that. And I also think it's educational.
This conversation is what this haggard woman should be discussing with a therapist, by the way, not parading on a podcast to millions of people as if it makes her more sexually desirable. That isn't fucking normal to you, you weird cunt. I will go as far as to say that specifically desiring 18-year-olds as close to their birthday as possible is as good as a direct confirmation to what I assumed a minute ago. That the legality surrounding it is the only roadblock that keeps this possessed creature from having sex with teenagers of any age.
I would argue that a lot of the men who fuck you are gay.
No, it can be intimidating though for guys.
No, it's not about intimidation. They are gay.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are, because
Their dick is entering a pussy.
there's
Gay.
too much male DNA all around that scenario.
Correct, Andrew. We agree for once. You shiny-headed. Watched his mum get levered in front of him, so now despises vulnerability bastard. I think you're right there. Body up until now has been Tate's fucking lapdog. She's aligned herself with everything and anything that's come out of his mouth. A cunning and calculated move. In my view, I believe she's pandering. She's trying to cash in on the type of young men who watch Andrew Tate in the first place. The lads who hate women, but are in turn sexually repressed by women because women don't want to sleep with lads who they know hate them. And that is the perfect candidate for a porn addiction. So Body's being very clever, agreeing with everything, trying to rope those lads in. But you can't align with that, can you, you fucking slapper? You can't have Andrew Tate saying that your audience are all bent. You can't ostracise all of the gay boys who fuck you whilst you've got 400 other blokes fucking semen on your face. Even though deep down you probably agree with that sentiment. Because let's be honest, shagging Bonnie Blue is perhaps one of the most homosexual acts you can do outside of sucking another man's cock. We're over an hour into the video now and the quality of conversation has somehow nosedived. I thought we had already fell straight off the cliff when Bonnie Blue was talking about taking young boys' innocence, as if she's Myra fucking Hindley, but no, it turns out it gets much worse.
But you said you thought you were a positive role model.
No, but Rob.
Well, I am positive because you think of the day I fucked 1,000 men. If you was a rapist, would you go and find someone else? No, I've shared my location. Come and fuck me. Like, I'm reducing rape rates because when you have sex workers that are available and guys want to have sex, they want to breed, they want to fuck. And if they can't find a girlfriend or they can't afford to pay for one, because prostitutes nowadays can be expensive, I'm saying, hey, I'm doing it for free. Just come fuck me. Take it out on me because I consent to that.
No.
So I'm not promoting, people say I promote rape culture and stuff. I'm not. I'm saying, hey, I enjoy it. I get wet. I get turned on. I wank over my videos. Come and fuck me. Save yourself paying a lawyer. Like, I'm actually doing people work. Bet that day, if you was a rapist, not that I'm obviously promoting it, but it's like, okay, well, actually, I'll just go and fuck Bonnie. She's there. It's easy work. She's already shared a location.
That is an absolutely batshit crazy take for anyone to make. Bonnie Blue is arguing that she is reducing national rape rates by making her body readily available to potential rapists. Let's ignore the blatant retardation and the insane cope that Bonnie is shooting for with that sentence and just focus on this one point. Why, as a woman, would you be okay with someone like that entering your body in the first place? Why would you be fine if a man who has it within himself to force himself on a woman, why would you be fine with him being inside of your body? Moreover, why would you be inviting towards that type of person unless you are yourself a numbed out sociopathic lunatic whose quest for financial abundance comes before any single shred of normal human morality? In which case, everything that Bonnie says should be dismissed as the words of a crazy person. I don't know if you picked up on it as well, but during that weird tangent, she passes a quick comment about saving yourself from needing a lawyer if you rape someone, as if she's reducing the act of rape to a legal inconvenience.
Come and fuck me. Save yourself paying a lawyer.
She says she's not propping up rape culture, yet the language she uses, for all intents and purposes, downplays the act of rape. It implies that it would just be a legal inconvenience, and when she's talking about she's a free-for-all porn star, so just come and let it all out on me, that's essentially saying that rape is just sexual energy that needs to be released. That attitude is probably some of the most rape culture supporting speech that could ever leave your fucking mouth. Bonnie Blue is a traitor to her own gender. She's fucking warped, she's thick as pig shit, and she serves as a glaring walking reminder to all parents everywhere, remember to hug your children.
She is a symptom of society. And what I'm saying is, unless you're prepared to stand up and say the entire society needs rewiring, women shouldn't be allowed to vote anymore. Women should not be having sex outside of wedlock. Unless you're going to start saying all of these things, you shouldn't have an opinion on Bonnie. Your opinion on Bonnie should be, she is the end result of the society we have built and promoted. She is acting how society has told her to act to get as far ahead as possible. She is being extremely successful financially. She's notorious. She's sitting with one of the most famous men on the fucking planet. She's done a fantastic job for herself, built on the parameters that we've given her to live within. Yeah. Here's the rules of the game. She's played the game the best. If you're unhappy with what she's doing, change the rules of the game.
Andrew Tate clearly fell asleep watching The Handmaid's Tale before coming onto this podcast. Bonnie Blue is not the end result of feminism. She's not a synopsis that represents modern day women, and that can be proven in 5 seconds when you type her name into any internet search bar. What you'll immediately find by doing that is that the majority of critique videos and posts that are being made about Bonnie are coming from the very people that Andrew Tate wants to silence. Women. Women seem to be more overtly critical of Bonnie Blue than men in general, from what I've seen. So maybe we should take away men's votes as well, Andrew. Let's just take away everyone's fucking vote. Leave Andrew Tate in charge. That way, with ultimate control, he may finally feel like the emotional wound is healed, the wound that was left behind from growing up in a home of sheer domestic violence. After all, if you're able to carefully curate your environment, you'll probably feel the safety that you've been chasing since you were a little boy, Andrew. Safety that should never have been stripped away from you, but it was, from the very man that you idolise to this day.
All of this comes from this bullshit idea that men have ever been sexually exclusive. Men have never been sexually exclusive. Women were to guarantee paternity. Men, since the dawn of time, every king, every sultan have had harems, they have had concubines. Every single man who could, did. The men who can't say they wouldn't and say they don't want it because they can't. It's like a broke man saying he wouldn't drive a Ferrari. No one gives a fuck what you think because you're poor. If you're actually important and you can have a harem, you have a harem.
Have you noticed that everything Andrew believes on an individual basis can never just be that? It can never just be his individual opinion. He doesn't ever seem satisfied with the idea that he can have his own perspective and other men can have their own potentially conflicting perspectives as well. Whatever his position on a topic, he has to shape it to be the correct, objective position. And if you disagree with old fragile Andrew Tate, it's because you are lacking in something. Not Andrew, you. This unanimous consensus that he's pulled from his arse that says men are only exclusive when they have to be, that might hold true for a portion of people. Maybe that applied to Andrew Tate before the money and stardom. Yet, despite Andrew's very high view of himself, his experience remains just that. One man's experience. It feels quite fucking cringe to bring this up, like the way I'm about to say this. Ugh. But my own personal experiences are a literal rebuttal to Andrew Tate. I've been in a relationship, and at the same time, I have had options where if I wanted to pursue those options, I could have done. But I put my own value on that mutual exclusivity. In the same breath, in an earlier relationship, I had options, and I chose to act on them because I was a different man with a different set of experiences and therefore a different moral compass. Even back then, the fact that I was doing that wouldn't, in my mind, convince me that everyone should do that, because I'm not a one-dimensionally thinking retard. As we near the back end of this lengthy, never-ending podcast, Andrew says something that appears to offer us a little bit of insight into his inner psyche, something that would otherwise maybe be hidden away. Tate pretty much admits that none of the women who are around him actually love him.
Considering women just want status and money, don't think I haven't thunk about the fact about the women who say they love me. I'm not dumb. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. Of course. I love that you're attractive. I love that you're attractive and you do as I say. And you love that I'm very famous and very rich and I give you a lifestyle. Now, you say you'd love me if I didn't give you the lifestyle, but if I didn't give you the lifestyle, how would I even be me? How am I me with no money? How am I me with no status? How am I me with no power? Who am I then? I'm a different person. So I know you're with me because you get things, and I'm with you because I get things. It's transactional. All relationships are transactional. This podcast is a transaction. This is how things work.
I think what this demonstrates is something that was obvious to a lot of us from the very beginning, and that is that Andrew Tate, like many men, struggles with his self-worth. Andrew's inability to conceptualise that someone may love him for his soul rather than his status speaks volumes about why he is the way he is, and I think he's correct as well. I believe that a lot of his relationships will be transactional because of the culture that he has created around himself. Why would any of his women love him for who he is, for his soul, when he has multiple wives? When his view of women is dismissive and essentially boils down to, you are here for a sole purpose, and that purpose is procreation. Of course, that's not a man you'd ever truly love. Andrew is the victim of a set of circumstances that he is wholly responsible for. The issue with that, however, is he has created his personality based off of these circumstances and has gone to a painstaking effort over the years to broadcast everything he thinks to others. He's hell-bent on pushing out all of this divisiveness to the common man. Divisiveness that is based on his own truths, but these truths only exist for Andrew. Something that might be true for a character like Andrew Tate, that he will never know unconditional love, or that all of his relationships are transactional, does not have to be true for you. The conversation moves on after this to Bonnie Blue talking about the elastication of her vagina, of her post-op pussy.
Well, if someone got with me, I'd be like, Andrew, I've got tight holes, good blowjob skills, and I'm not going to cry rape the next day.
How could you be tight with that? I don't want to just state the obvious, but how could you be tight with that amount of men?
Well, that'd be your opinion, Rob.
I'm just a question. My opinion doesn't mean anything in this situation.
I can prove it, though. Do you want to prove it? We'll see who's tighter, your wife or me.
The face on her when he said that. You got very defensive there, didn't you, Bonnie? You got very defensive when Rob asked that very valid question. How could you possibly be tight when you have let multiple tower blocks of men in and out of your surgically created transvestite pussy? Your Carnivus Canal Street vagina has seen more traffic than the Birmingham leg of the M6 on a Monday morning. Let's be honest. It isn't tight. Or if it is, it's because the surgeon who turned your original penis into a vagina just keeps tightening it up. Jokes aside, the reason why we see a bit of bite back here, the reason why Bonnie gets defensive, is because the grandiose female narcissist does not care about anything until it comes down to her own image. She can't have people thinking that her vulva hangs lower than the average Joe's ballsack, even if there is video evidence that shows it quite literally looks prolapsed. My closing point after a grueling 2.5 hours is this. Andrew Tate and Bonnie Blue are two sides of the same coin. They're both overtly narcissistic, numb, desensitised entertainers. They each utilise their own extreme personality disorders in order to make shocking content, and contrary to popular belief, I do not think that it's all an act like some people suggest with either of them. Of course, Tia is always going to be careful not to insult her legion of losers who pledge to whatever platform she's currently posting her clit dick to. So she'll always say things within the parameters that won't hurt her bank account. The same with Andrew. He will try his best not to contradict anything he's previously spoon-fed to his cult following. Yet on a deeper level, I think that both of their characters are rooted in real identities. Identities of two individuals who are both fucked in the head. When you really read into Bonnie and Tate, parallels begin to appear and a pattern emerges that showcases that they've sort of lived a similar experience just from different angles. And that experience to me is one that suggests that neither of them have ever known real love or care. And I think that's the bottom line. I think that is the bottom line for both Andrew Tate and Bonnie Blue. They are both loveless. Thank you very much for giving me over 30 minutes of your time and allowing me to decode that fucking snooze fest for you. If you've enjoyed this video and you're not already subscribed, make sure you do subscribe so that we don't lose each other. I do also want to just give you one more reminder I live stream on my second YouTube channel, Brad Does Banter live streams. I do live streams every single weekend. Whenever I post a YouTube video, I also make a follow-on Patreon video that has something to do with the same topic. This week, we've been talking about the 2 most controversial people on the internet. So, continuing the theme, I decided to ask my audience, what's your most controversial opinion? I've done a Patreon video reading them all and sharing my own views. What I'll do is I'll post a little clip of that now. If you decide you want to watch it, it's linked in the description along with my live stream channel as well. The Patreon's down there, live stream channel's down there. Alternatively, you just don't watch anything, mate. Just leave. You know what I mean? Just leave. It's just me trying to get money out of you, innit, really? Let's be fair. You've watched. Say fuck you, Brad. Off you go. Do you know what? I hope you've used adblock. I don't even deserve it. Bye. Oh, this one was mad when I read it. This one I actually fucking had a little gasp about. Genuinely. The person said, I work with dementia people and honestly, I wish we could euthanize every one of them. What? Pardon? That's crazy. Imagine, like, your grandparent who you've loved for so long, but they've succumbed to this disease and they're put into a care home, and then you've got people caring for them, being paid to care for them, who have this attitude towards them. That, if I knew that, you know what I mean, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. And then at the same time, it must be a stressful job, do you know what I mean? It must be such a hard job. But like, fuck. Oh, that's a hard one to read. It is a hard one. I'm surprised you even trusted me to fucking actually say that, because imagine if I just shared your name. You'd lose your job, first of all. You'd definitely lose your job. I'm not going to do that, but I don't know. You must fucking trust me a lot to say that, is my only point.